Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Remp, and I'm here to usher you into the work week as we begin. It is Wednesday, November 1st. No more October. October days are gone. My beard has been trimmed. Everything's looking good, but unfortunately, the weather outside is that it's raining outside. So let's kick it off with a little bit of weather. I got a whole bunch of things to talk about today's show. I got dubbing stuff, I got news, I got events, I got Megs, and I also got a guest on to talk about our playoff game that MCAT will be streaming for high school football against Big Sky High School and Sentinel High School. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's kick things off. According to this thing, there's a 100% chance that it's raining outside. With highs into 41 degrees today and your lows into 29 degrees. Expect this week to be pretty cool with rain and snow mixtures pretty much happening, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably be raining most of this week. You can expect those highs to pretty much stay in the high 30s, and then, of course, stay pretty much high into the low, but the high end of the 20-degree temperature. But, of course, most of this week it's going to be raining, snowing, mixtures, and all that stuff. So it's definitely going to be an interesting week to see. But if you haven't already heard, former governor of Montana, Judy Martz, the first female governor of Montana and former Olympian, died Monday morning in Butte of pancreatic cancer. She was 74 years old. Martz was elected in governorship in November 7th, 2000, after having been elected the state's first female lieutenant governor 4 years earlier when she ran on Governor Mark Rackcott's, sorry about that, final re-election ticket. She served one term, opting not to run for re-election in 2004. Her passing brought immediate words of sympathy and gratitude from the state's political leaders. Martz was the voice that turned the tide in calling for the removal of Milltown Dam east of Missoula and the full cleanup and restoration of Milltown Reservoir and the 100-mile river of frontage between Milltown and Warm Springs. Martz was born on July 28th, 1943 in Big Timber to ranching parents. She graduated from Butte High School in 1961 and attended Eastern Montana College before she went into the Olympic speed skating team for the, I believe it was the 64 or 66 Olympics. So you can read the full article at MissoulaCurrent.com. In state news, let me actually switch to this camera. In Crow legislation, legislators say they want to strengthen the independence of the tribal three branches of government. The legislation would create a Department of Justice within the tribal government, including stepped-up law enforcement on the Crow Reservation, where police under the direction of the Bureau of Indian Affairs officers have been long considered stretched too thin to be effective. It also would expand the judicial branch and require regular elections for all judges, some of whom serve as appointees under the current law. The proposal is the product of the year's work within the legislature and with members of the Crow tribe. Under the current law, tribal attorneys general serve as at the pleasure of the chairman, which Burden Ground said that historically allowed politics to be injected into how prosecutions of tribal members tended to play out. So the ticket price for this overhaul and update would come to about $1 million. So in national news, in the Washington Post, if you haven't already read, a growing number of lawmakers have expressed concern in recent weeks about the Russian online influence campaign and are vowing to both to expose what happened and work to prevent a recurrence through legislation if necessary. Tuesday's hearing invited Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms to lawyers to their hearings to talk about this. As many as 126 million Facebook users may have seen content produced and circulated by Russian operatives. Twitter said it had discovered that 2,752 accounts controlled by Russians, and more than 36,000 Russian bot tweeted 1.4 million times during the election. And Google disclosed for the first time that it had found 1,108 videos with 43 hours of content related to the Russian effort on YouTube. And it also found that $4,700 worth of Russian search and display ads. Many questions are being asked on what these social media tycoons are doing to prevent this from any for the future elections that could potentially sway upcoming elections. So that's kind of what all the news that's happening in a nutshell. There's a lot of things happening. I suggest you check out what's happening online. There's a lot of interesting things happening in the news today, but that's kind of like the overview of what's happening there. But let's talk about what's happening here in Missoula. Here are some of the programs that are going to be airing on MCAT that will basically reflect everything Missoula. So Stories and Stones, you got Norman McLean Festival, you got MCPS Hoops, where Indian American Heritage Week, where they visited the schools, and this was from Lowell School. And then, of course, there's another reflection of why people fought in the Great War, otherwise known as World War I. So, without further ado, here's some of the new programs on MCAT. When I come back, I'll talk about some city council stuff.
And they thought, the entire town thought that I was going to erupt in that courthouse, but I'll tell you, I was a cucumber. And I knew that they were going to do something like that to try to get me out of town, to get me out of the profitable business. Just think of all we supported in Missoula. We all used the mercantile, we bought fuel, so many things. And here they are wanting to ship me off to Deer Lodge. Well, off I go. And right away we start. We have to have our plan. So my lawyers, now I have lawyers from Helena versus Missoula, and my Helena lawyers make an appeal. Well, they found out some things during that appeal where things weren't quite on the up and ups with my first trial, and so they threw it out, and it went all the way to the Montana Supreme Court. So here I am back in town again, folks, for my new trial. And many things happened during that time that were quite interesting. Of the most interest was that Bobby Burns, he just up and had a heart attack one day on the Higgins Ave Bridge. And so then they decided that there really was no need to go forward with my case.
Sort of a classical structure, and it's also something that all of us know. We all come from families, we all have relationships, they're all different, but there's a universality in the way Norman presented that in the specificity of these Presbyterian fly-fishing Scotsmen 1920s. Montana, who knows anything about that? But in telling it very specifically as he did, we all get to take things away from it that mean something to us. And I was taken with it and called him up and said, hell yes, let's do this. I want to read a screenplay. I don't think they had a screenplay quite ready at that point, but Richard was hard at work on it. And so I took a trip to Montana to come up and figure out how we can make it what it was going to cost, all the sorts of things that you need to do. And we scouted over here and looked at the Blackfoot and Norman's home water and realized that there had been some serious issues with that river having been degraded by logging and mining and grazing and sort of ignored for a period of time as this happens. And we realized that in order to portray Norman's River in the kind of spectacular way that he remembered it and the pristine beauty of it is how we decided to go to Livingston and use a kind of an amalgamation of the Yellowstone, the Gallatin, and the Boulder.
We're going to pick it up. We're going to bring it up all the way through, and we're going to stack it on the second. This is what we call stacking groups of one another. This represents that a lot of success. You keep adding groups till you get to your goal. But when you reach your goal, you keep adding more groups to set another goal in life. All right, good. We step up. We go on to our third group. All right, so we have three groups now. As hoop dancers, we're always picking up groups, one by one. And that's how we walk this world. We take it day by day, step by step, hoop by hoop.
But no one was a greater enemy to America than this man, this very petty, inefficient, thin-skinned, very unpredictable man, Kaiser Wilhelm II, Willy, as he was known. And it's this man who became very clearly for us our enemy. And so many of the posters that you see in the exhibition parody him as the little cowardly weasel that you see there in the lower right of this image, being driven away by Uncle Sam's hammer. The Kaiser was a clear image of the enemy, easy to satire, easy to caricaturize.
And of course, most of those programs you can go by going on to, most of those programs you can watch by going on to MCAT.org. MCAT.org. All you got to do is type in MCAT.org, and you can go to this wonderful website where it tells you exactly what's going on here in Missoula, and it reflects all of Missoula in a visual media. And you too can request a program that MCAT can record. All you got to do is go to How Do I Request Event Recording, and there you go. But if you already have a program for us, you can submit a program to us as well, and we will air it on our channel. But also, we'll be able to put it on our video on demand. So those videos that you just saw right there, you can watch those at any time. But of course, you can always watch them on MCAT because those are the newest programs that are going to be airing this week and only this week. But of course, I think they might be airing a couple more times, but don't quote me on that. So, but if you want more information about my show, you can go to wakeupmissoula.wixsite.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice you made you write it out twice. It is the last best morning show. If you Google Wake Up Missoula, you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow as well. So now is the time for some city council stuff. I have no clips for you guys because city council did not meet on Monday since it was the 5th Monday of the month, October 30th. So let's talk about some of the things they're talking about in some committee meetings today, starting at 12 o'clock. Committee of the Whole. On Monday, the 23rd, the city of Missoula were talking, and they said, hey, we got to replace somebody in Ward 2. So what they did is they interviewed about 9 people, and basically by the end of today or later on as well, it says so the responses, written interview questions are due November 2nd, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m. and will be posted on the website by November 3rd. So if you are interested in finding out more information about who's going to represent Ward 2, replacing Ruth Swaney as a Ward 2 City Council member, you can check that out by going online at ci.missoula.mt.us. So that's kind of like what they're going to be talking about, and they're going to be doing it for the regular board meeting. The person selected who will serve under the successor is elected and qualified at the next regular municipal election in November 2019. So this is going to be a fairly short span of time. Well, actually, not necessarily. It's about 3 years. So you'll be up for election on November 19th. So the whole idea is that you'll basically get voted in by the city council to be appointed as Ward 2 members. Since the election coming up next Tuesday, the ticket has already been basically Ruth Swaney's running unopposed on the November election ticket for city council Ward 2. But she's no longer there, and nobody else is running against her, so therefore it's a vacant seat, so the city council will appoint a Ward 2 city council member. Moving on, admin and finance. The city issued a request for proposal in late July 2017 for a consultant to perform the above impact fee study and update. 2 firms responded in 2018. The city impact fee study selection committee evaluation both proposals, interviewed both firms, and selected Trisha Bice to perform the study. And then this is basically admin finance, so they're going to talk about fees and scheduling in terms of just all sorts of things happening in the city of Missoula. So it's a lot of brass tacks type stuff. And of course, there's another committee of the whole, and in the meeting they're talking about living and working in Missoula. So I have a graphic for you guys, and this is kind of the graphic they'll be talking about in this presentation during the I think it's economic climate update in the city of Missoula. So this is interesting from what I've seen. Basically, 2014, living and working in Missoula has increased to 69%, which jobs since 2011 have been 54%. Working in Missoula but living elsewhere has actually decreased. So the whole idea is that people are working in Missoula, just people aren't really moving to live in Missoula. So that's an interesting thing, a little tidbit that they're talking about in the city council meeting this afternoon during the second committee of the whole. Both committee of the wholes, one is going to be devoted to basically interviewing and talking with more of the proposed applicants for World War II, and then the other committee of the whole will basically talk about economic impacts and some of the workers in the city of Missoula. So you get to learn about Missoula's business and how we get money here in Missoula by tuning in to the city of Missoula's city council meetings, committee meetings this afternoon. So that's kind of what's happening there. I have a new dub and stuff for everybody. So without further ado, here is dub and stuff from the movie Savage Weekend. Check my mirrors, and now I can get out. Huh.
Oh man, I really hate camping. Camping's terrible. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't see you hanging out there. This is really awkward.
I saw that your door is open, so I decided to let myself in. Hello? Anybody here? So I told her that, wait. Hey, I thought I was talking to someone just a second ago. Where'd that girl in the white dress go? Hello? Hello? Oh, that was stupid of me. Who cares? Is there some kind of party going on around here? Let me check right here. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's what I thought. Extreme Q-tipping.
Oh, these branches are in my face. I gotta hate these branches.
I can't believe I dropped my gas can for this. They say never run with scissors, but this ain't no scissors. Oh. Weird. I can't believe he doesn't have a mustache. You get back here, I tell ya. No one cares about Cletus.
I'm getting tired anyways.
Mustache. Oh, mustache. Oh, I gotta try it again. That's gross. Hey,
Max, help me.
mustache, ho. You wait right here. I ain't afraid of your mustache. I got a stick. I got a machete. That's what you get for spending more time singing than fighting. Come on, mustache powers, give me strength. Boast that fighting. Better watch out, I got machete now. My weakness. He is still here. Machete too. As I was saying, machete time. What do we have here? Oh, chainsaw. Will you stop singing? I hate it. Oh, that's awkward.
Finally, it's over.
What did you say? I can't hear you. Oh man, this machete. I shouldn't have brought it out here. I should have just brought a gun or something.
My hero.
Hey, darling, were you thinking about growing a mustache anytime soon?
It never crossed my mind.
Just smile and nod. Oh, hey guys, welcome back. That was weird. A little announcement at the end of that computer. But let's talk about some things that are happening in and around Missoula in Missoula events. So I got this information from MissoulaEvents.net, and let's go over it a little bit. Starting this morning, Tiny Tales is going to be at Empower Place. Parents and tots sing along, tell stories and rhymes, and enjoy open read and socialized time during Tiny Tales at Empower Place, which is going to be located at a different location this time. So this is a different kind of Tiny Tales, sponsored by, I believe it's Empower, Montana. So this is going to be located at the Food Bank, 1720 Wyoming Street. So it's basically right kitty corner across from West Side Lanes. Preschool playgroup, Roots Acro Sports Center. This is for walking to 5 years of age, and this happens from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's $10 per child or $15 for siblings. So if you have 3 kids, it's basically $5 each, but you save $5 rather than having a per kid idea. So the whole the thing with this is that it's raining outside, and you want your kids to be active, so this is a good way just to stay indoors and stay active without getting all that rain. Sugar Skull's Paper Plates, part of basically God, I just can't think of it right now. Day of the Dead Parade. Many of the things that are happening, they have Sugar Skull paper plates. Is going to be at the Families First Children's Museum, and they're going to be making sugar skulls from paper plates. And this is going to be from 11 to 12 p.m. And this is for the Day of the Dead preparations. They've been doing a whole bunch of events leading to the Day of the Dead Parade, which I'll get to on Thursday events. Wednesday, Women's Breast Cancer Support Group is happening at the Providence Health St. Patrick Hospital. Women's Breast Cancer Support Group is meeting basically every first and third Wednesday of the month. Due to the confidential nature of this group, only women who have been diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, may participate. The group meets the first and third Wednesdays of the month. So the whole idea is that it's open discussion will happen today. They'll have a webinar, Mind Body Techniques and to Cope with Stress of Cancer. They'll have open discussions. They'll have no group on the 20th of December, and then they'll have their final one on January 17th, an open discussion. My iPad and my iPhone. You guys want to learn about iPads and iPhones? Go to the Missoula Public Library at 12:30. They host this pretty much once a month, and it's basically to become a little more savvy with your iPhone or iPad, and just learn more about that by going to the Missoula Public Library at 12:30. Missoula Middle School Writers Group is happening at the Missoula Public Library this afternoon at 3:30 to hone some of the kids from grades 6 to 9 every Wednesday, 5:30 to 3:30 to 5. It's in the boardroom for writers, basically it's to give and get feedback, play with words, and eat a little chocolate, which will be provided. Wednesday matinee movie at Big Sky Branch. If you're interested in a recent feature film, Big Sky High School hosts a Wednesday afternoon matinee in November, and you can call them at 728-2400. Extension 8605. You can also look up Big Sky High School as well. And this is happening at 3:45 p.m. at Big Sky High School. Caporia, sorry about that, is happening at the Downtown Dance Collective. Caporia is a dynamic form of martial arts practice first developed by African slaves in 16th century Brazil. Much more than martial arts, Caporia is a game both playful and objective with dance-like and acrobatic elements. Much like physical game of chess, Capricorn game is jogo in Portuguese, pronounced joju, takes place in a circle. Roda, pronounced roda, formed by practitioners who clap and sing to music led by instruments, and classes are $10 each. If you want unlimited classes, it's $50 a month with a $25 membership. Split a membership with a friend, and you can do a buy one, get one membership. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then of course, one of my favorite events is Socrates Cafe at the Missoula Public Library, where people talk philosophy. It's people hang out, go to the public library, and they go to the boardroom, and they just basically talk philosophy for an hour or so. And then of course, this is the last week. Today is the first day of the last week of Mamma Mia. So Mamma Mia is playing at the MCT Center for Performing Arts. Missoula Community Theater participants will be performing songs by ABBA. Mamma Mia is at the MCT, so it's off Broadway, Missoula Broadway, mind you, and that's kind of like what's happening with the events for your Wednesday. I have a new art clip for you guys, and when I come back, I'll continue the rest of the events for your Thursday. and that will be at the Missoula Art Museum pretty much all the way until December 30th. So that's going to be, it's cool. It's called Dear Audience. It's at the Missoula Art Museum, and you can check it out anytime. Of course, this Friday is First Friday, and I'll talk about all the First Friday events on Friday. So let's talk about Thursday events. These are the days that are happening between Wednesday and Friday. And this is named after Thor. So please join the University of Montana Diverse U program and Salam, standing alongside America's Muslim, for an evening of food, community, and dialogue and learning. This partnership is bringing speaker Ann Holmes Redding to the Missoula community to elevate the issues of misinformation about the Islam religion and Muslims in America. Ann is a former priest who has defrocted, that's basically what it says here, sorry about that, for having become Muslim, and has spent years addressing issues of interfaith, peace, race, and gender. And this is happening from 10 to 12 p.m., and it's going to be a workshop, 2-hour workshop. They also have a thing tonight as well, but they're doing the workshop on Thursday, so you can find out more information by going to MissoulaEvents.net. Story Garden, Dia de los Muertos, Families for Children's Museum is going to teach kids about the Day of the Dead and what it means for the Come Grow with Books as they read Dia de los Muertos as part of our continuing celebration of Day of the Dead. They'll learn about the different cultural traditions and get to speak some Spanish vocabulary lessons and they see how they honor their dearly departed in this traditional time-honored style. Lego Club is happening at the Missoula Public Library at 3:30. Kids get to play with Legos, get to learn, create, and build. It's wonderful. Forward Montana Environmental Action Call Night. Forward Montana is hosting a call night to raise awareness around local environmental issues and generate excitement about municipal elections. And food will be provided, and it's going to be Forward Montana Foundation at 5 p.m. You can check it out. And it's located on Broadway. It's just like right next to Atmosphere Smoke Shop for some of you. Festival of the Dead procession event. So 6 p.m. if you're interested in being a part of the Day of the Dead parade, it's happening November 2nd, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Gather around, hang out, and from 6 to 7 p.m. there's a pre-parade performance at Circle Square, including Hipsy Gypsies. 7 p.m. the Festival of the Dead parade starts at Circle Square, and then 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. post-parade performance at Carrollton Park will include UMT African dance class and Unity dance and drum. So those are some of the things that are happening for your Thursday night. Mud DIY, do-it-yourself, Missoula Urban Demonstration Project does a workshop where they're going to teach you guys how to make wreaths, because it's never too early to talk about Christmas. Bring the last of the fall harvest and colors indoors. Missoula La Fontaine of Earth Within Flowers will guide you in wreath weaving techniques using local flowers, fall foliage, herbs, and edibles. Edibles include fragrant dried apples and cinnamon sticks. So you get to choose that, and you can improve your house, and you get to hang up things and hold on to fall as long as you can. Currents Aquatic Center is doing an open kayak session for people who want to learn how to kayak in the safety of indoors. Bring a cleaned and scored boat to work on your roll skills. This program will provide pool access for those individuals who want to keep their paddling skills sharp through the off season or learn some new skills. Bring your own cleaned kayak paddle. So the whole idea is that you have to have a clean kayak and paddles to do it. So make sure that happens. It meets every Tuesday, Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. And then this is going to be going on from Thursday all the way until December 21st. Regular current admission fees, and of course, youth under 15 may attend with adult supervision. And of course, please note, no open kayak on the 16th, 21st, 28th, 29th, and December 5th. Well, good luck noting those. You can always replay this video. So here are some of the things that I've seen for some of your Wednesday night. Brains on Trivia. You can go check that out. It's going to be at Broadway Bar and Grill. They have a trivia night there, starting at 7:30. Starting at 8:30, Trivial Beer Suit is going to be at the Press Box at 8:30. Karaoke at the Eagles Lodge, karaoke at the Badlander, karaoke at the Sunrise Saloon, and then bluegrass music is going to be at the Top Hat Lounge Trout Steak Revival. Here are some of your Thursday late night events for those of you who like to do the late night stuff. The Floozies Funk Jesus Tour 2017 is going to be at the Top Hat Lounge starting at 8 p.m. You have AJ Croix, Two Generations of American Music at the University of Montana. It's going to be blues and folk. You got Trivia Beer Suit at Dark Horse. You got live jazz at Plonk. You got Hambone at the Sunrise Saloon. It's going to be country music. You got Rockin' Karaoke at the Dark Horse. And then you got Open Mic Comedy at the Union Club, since it is the first Thursday of the month, and Union Club hosts Open Mic Comedy Night, hosted by, I believe, let me just double check. It's hosted by John Howard. So John Howard is the guy who kind of ushers a lot of comedians here in town. And of course, I believe that they have a women's comedy night at the Badlander on Wednesdays. I think it's either next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. So don't just check it out, and you can find out more information by going to MissoulaEvents.net. MissoulaEvents.net is your source for everything Missoula, so you can check that out then and there. But I do have a special guest, I hope, coming on to my show, and we're going to be talking about sports. MCAT has been filming all the high school sports Friday Night Lights for the last 9 weeks, whether it be Big Sky, Hellgate, or even Big Sky, Hellgate, and especially Sentinel. We've had some commentators come on the show and basically talk about it, and so we have Cole Johnson on after this little highlight video of Sentinel versus Capital, and of course Sentinel versus Butte as well. So when we come back, we'll have Cole Johnson on here.
That is a bounce, and that's a live football, and Sentinel picks it up. It was kind of juggled around on the punt return, and that was number 26 for Capital. Mark Northey really couldn't get a handle on it, and the ball just kind of trickled away, and it was just lying there at the 5-yard line. Sentinel jumped on it. This is going to land inside the 1, and a save at the 1-yard line, and it's down at the 1. Wow. Snap. Hold is good, and the kick is on its way, and it is good. He got it from 46 yards. Rolling again on the rollout, and he's going to throw it to the end zone, and it is going to be intercepted. What a grab. Anyway, 1st and 10 from the 12, and it's going to be Rylan Orton's going to keep it around left side. 5 to the corner, and he's got himself a touchdown. McGinley's in trouble, and he is going to lose the rut. And here come the Spartans now, and he's going to throw an interception. Wow. He was looking over the middle. It really didn't have a chance. Here we go. 3rd and 2. Going to hand it off to Ort, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown, and he just got leveled as he went in. But it doesn't matter as he crosses the plane. That was a big hit. Yeah. He got totally laid out, but with 13 seconds left,
he just stood up straight and just kind of weaved right through the defensive line, just like that. Yeah, he knew where he needed to get. The trust fall's been working pretty good. Know where you need to go. The old trust fall tactic. Works every time. We're down in 5. This is a huge play again, and it's McGinley going to roll out. He's in trouble, and he's going to get brought down. Sack for Sentinel. That was Bridger. Deaton got to him first, and Sentinel will take over. Yeah, right at the 40. Pitch and catch out to Germer, and he's got a lot of room. Oh, there's nothing. And he could take it all the way. No one's touching him. He will. Lots in the shotgun again. Remember, he can run it too. He's going to throw it out over the middle. It's intercepted by the Spartans, and it's going to be returned inside the 20. 15, 10, 5, touchdown! The Spartans get a pick 6. And it's going to be a fake handoff, and Rylan Ort's got a lot of room. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Spartans on 4th down. Johnny on the spot, that's right. Rylan Ort's going to take it himself. He's going to find the end zone.
Wow, what an incredible turnaround. Nice play there by Rylan. Another nice
Germer on the fly. There he goes to the end zone just as we called his number. He'll be playing for the university next year. 2nd and 1 from the 5-yard line. Ort takes it, goes up the middle, and he's in for a touchdown. And that might be the icing on the cake that the Spartans need. They're up by 11.
Hey guys, welcome back. We have the voice of all those commentations. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Commentations for the high school sports. And we have Cole Johnson on here. And David Yaffa is his color commentator. Of course, I've colored him a couple times along with David. But it's been an interesting season for sure. A lot of jumping around, a lot of teams doing really well in this season. What can you say about this? Because this Friday is a playoff game, and MCAT will be covering the playoff game. So, you have any words to talk about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be the play-by-play. I'll be out of town, so David will step in, and you can obviously be with him on that. It's going to be a great game. You know, I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think Big Sky's going to take it, and the reason why I say that is because they can run the football, and they can really wear out defenses by doing that. Janicaro is an all-state QB, and he's really just been taking the season into his own hands for Big Sky, so expect a lot of running from him, and it's going to be a high-scoring game, I think, like last time when they met the second week of the season. It was 44-40, Big Sky won, and I would expect a close game, but I really do believe with Big Sky running the football the way that they are, and just the type of season that they have had, they're going to take this one.
Cool. And I did notice, me and David did the commentating for it was 2 weeks ago, and it was Big Sky against, who was that? I think it was against Glacier? Yeah, that's right. And and Glacier was on a hot streak. Yeah. Glacier was an ice cube. Glacier was really hot that week since their win of Sentinel. They basically haven't lost since they beat Sentinel.
Right.
And that upset, which was surprising because they were at 0-4 when they beat Sentinel. Mm-hmm. But then they were able to come through, and then, of course, Big Sky was be like, no, you stop right here. Right. And then it's such an interesting thing, just the dynamic of everything. Of course, the big upset was Sentinel's game last week. I mean, and not only was it an upset, but it was a total destruction of the other team at Capitol.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Sentinel has been playing well lately. Capital has lost 3 in a row. So the momentum was clearly on Sentinel's side. It was senior night for them. I think the big thing with Sentinel is I know what they're capable of doing, I think, game to game. They were really fired up that game, and they literally dominated in all 3 phases. They forced 3 turnovers in the first half, and it really kind of catapulted them to a huge win. And they do have some momentum coming into this game. And again, for Sentinel, this is the type of matchup that you want. You didn't want to have to go to Billings.
Right.
Instead, you
Big Sky was going to host regardless, which is really good because they have one of the best records in the Missoula area compared to Billings Senior, which apparently is undefeated.
Right.
And have been undefeated since, I think, 2 years ago.
Right.
So they're definitely coming off their championship from last year. I think Big Sky may actually have a chance against them, but I don't know. How did Big Sky perform against Senior? Did you remember that?
I don't think, or they played. I don't know if they played this year actually. Maybe they played last year against them, but I think they do have a shot. I think this is going to actually be the title game, Big Sky and Senior. I mean, crazy things can happen.
Right.
I really like Billings Senior at home, though, and I think the reason why is because they have a senior running back, Nolan Askelson, that's just been really playing well. Actually, he's the QB, and he's the leading rusher as well. You know, he threw for 23 touchdowns this year and almost 2,000 yards, and I really feel like with Senior on defense as well, being at home in that game, it's going to be close. I really do. Like, if Big Sky can run the football and really take control that way and kind of dictate the pace,
right,
I think they could stick with them.
But it's interesting because you never know, like the new life that got breathed into Sentinel,
right?
Like from last week, you just never know. Like Sentinel can be a whole another wild card.
Yeah, and I guess the way that the brackets are laid out, if Sentinel beats Big Sky, they actually don't go to Billings Senior next. They play the winner of the Helena Billings West game. So they wouldn't see them until the championship, since the way that the brackets are laid. The higher seed doesn't get the lowest remaining seed. That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So
so if Big Sky wins this Friday, who might they go up against?
Right. So if Big Sky wins, they play the winner of the Helena Billings West game. So Helena is hosting Billings West. And yeah, that could be a very entertaining game as well. It would be great if Big Sky could win, because then I could be back with MCAT a week from Friday.
That's true.
Calling that game.
So if Big Sky did win this game, and then who would have to lose? Like Helena would have to win. against Billings?
Well, they would, Helena, Big Sky would get another home game if they won regardless.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it wouldn't matter if it was Billings West or Helena, they would still be at home. Big Sky would be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So they
get 2 in a row.
But of course, this is an interesting little tidbit that you mentioned in the commentation. If you guys get a chance, there's a lot of interesting facts that were given during just last game.
Mm-hmm.
Because there wasn't much to talk about because Sentinel was basically destroying Capital. So we just had to basically talk about brackets and talk about who might and what might happen, just basically speculating because that's all we can really do.
I thought Helena High was going to lose I thought Helena High was going to end up winning that game against Flathead, but they ended up losing, and that's why Big Sky's the 2 now instead of the 3.
Wow.
So.
But of course, this is the first time Big Sky has hosted a football game since I was in high school back in 2004.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. And it's probably been years since I don't even know if they've been to the state finals in God knows how long.
So it's been a while since they were able to contest?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I know for Sentinel, it'd be great because they haven't won haven't won a playoff game in like over 30 years. I mean, they've only been in the playoffs 5 times in the past 30 years. So, again, this is the right matchup for Sentinel. I think it's going to be close. I really do. Yeah. I just feel like with Janet Caro, he's a senior. He's going to take the game into his own hands.
Oh yeah, and then regardless of what happens, the Missoula team is going to go into the semis.
Right. We know that much. That's what's kind of nice about it. It's like, well, someone's going to come out on top.
So, and the finals is probably going to be hosted in Billings, most likely.
I think so. Bozeman's going to have a tough time. I mean, they're the 8 seed. They're 500 this year. You're going up against a 10-0 team.
Yeah.
Got to get Billings Senior. Even Flathead and Capital in Billings.
And it's such an interesting dynamic too because some of the towns like Bozeman is just as big as Missoula,
right.
But then again it's like they have one high school,
right? And they'll be expanding to 2 in the next couple of years.
Wow.
They're going to branch off and build another.
Because I know that Flathead, basically 5 or 6 years ago, they branched off into the Flathead Braves and the Glacier Wolfpack is the new school there. Mm-hmm. It's such of course, Billings has always been kind of like 2 schools,
yep.
2 big schools, and they've always kind of done really well in their football team.
Yep.
But high school sports is always so interesting because the dynamic between teams and players change. It's like it's a new team basically after a year or 2, basically.
Yeah, it's constantly evolving, and I think Sentinel has a lot of good things that they're looking forward to. Even Elias DeWaters, their running back, didn't even play much because of his ankle injury, so he'll come back next year as a senior. And again, I think that Sentinel is growing as a football team. Inconsistencies, I think, have really hurt them. Like that Glacier game we talked about, I think that's probably a game that they should have won.
Yeah.
Glacier just dominated that game from the very beginning, so it was what it was.
It's like momentum. If you have a good momentum going and you know how to hold on to it, you can carry it on forever, pretty much.
For sure.
Yeah, look at Billings Senior. They grabbed the momentum a couple of years ago,
yeah.
And they basically have been able to move forward for sure. So It just really depends. And a lot of times with a team that really leans on their seniors, if there's a lot of seniors who are your stars, you lose basically all of them by the next year. So
that's true. And Sentinel had 12 graduating, so on senior night, Billings Senior has their QB and their running back Gabe Solser, their wide receiver, is a senior too. So they are going to lose some pieces next year. So it could open up next year.
Okay.
For other teams.
So I just want to give a shout out saying that MCAT will be live streaming this on our Facebook page, Missoula's community media resource.
Yeah.
The name constantly changing all the time, so you can check that out. You can find us on our Facebook page, but also go to MCAT.org for more information about this and more. And you can watch past videos by going onto YouTube. It's just look up the keyword MCAT TV. So that's kind of all that in a nutshell. Is there anything else?
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year. Playoff football is always exciting. So yeah, just check us out on Facebook. Make sure that you even post your comments. Like if there's anything we can do to improve, please let us know, especially if we have like a player missing on the roster. It's always helpful, which we've encountered that a couple times. But it should be an awesome game Friday night. I wish I was there calling. I'm not going to be, but if Big Sky does move on, I'll be there a week from Friday.
So yeah, we still got plenty of sports happening. It's the playoffs, big games happening. Missoula is gonna definitely advance to the semis. So
right.
I look forward to that. And basically, this is the end of the show. So
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks. This is Cole Johnson, Scott Ramp, and for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramp.